The midway sun cast soft gold over the campus lawn as you strolled beside your best friend Asun, who had been unusually quiet for a few minutes. But as expected, her silence didn't last long. Hey, I totally forgot to ask, what the hell were you doing in Professor Jones' car yesterday? Her voice dropped to a mischievous whisper, eyes narrowing in suspicion. As she nudged your arm playfully, you froze for a second, your tongue flicking out in pure instinct, as if caught red handed. Your mind scrambled for the excuse you had rehearsed all morning. It's not what you think. My car tire got punctured near the library, and since my apartment on his route, I just asked for help. That's it. He was kind enough to drop me off. Asun blinked, then gasped. Are you serious right now? Her mouth hung open as she grabbed her shoulders dramatically. You mean that Professor Joan, Mr. No Smile Ever, the human version of winter itself, that man gave you a ride home? You have gotta be kidding me. You nodded sheepishly, biting your lower lip to suppress your grin. That cold blooded man, the one who deducts marks if your head is in Comic Sans. Oh Lord, I don't know what's going on anymore. Is the universe okay? Before you could respond, a familiar voice called out from behind, snapping both of you out of your cues. Hey, why did you both leave me like that, huh? You and Nathan turned around at the same time. Her boyfriend, young Kwanshik, jogged over, a disappointed pout already forming on his face. His hair was slightly tousled, likely from the punishment he had just received from dozing off in class game. Isun crossed her arms, already rolling her eyes. Because you got punished for talking during Professor Jones' lecture, you expect us to wait around like your emotional support animals. Kwanchu pulled a face dramatic as ever, pretending to be wounded by her words. You chuckled quietly and elbowed Eason, silently telling her to go easy. She only flipped her hair and walked on ahead with mock grace. The three of you walked together, laughter filling the air, until they finally said their goodbyes at the parking lot. You waved as they disappeared around the corner, hand in hand. You slipped into your car, letting out a deep sigh as you leaned against the steering wheel. Thank God you covered for me. Asun, what would have happened if they found out the real story? Your fingers tightened slightly on the wheel, heart still racing with the thrill of secrecy. As you started the engine and began to drive home, your mind wandered not to the lie but to the memory of sitting in Professor Jones' car, the silence between you two. The way his hand rested calmly on the gear, his voice low and unreadable. And that one glance he gave you at the red light, sharp, unreadable, yet oddly gentle. You shook your head. No, you couldn't think about that. Not when you didn't even understand what was going on in his head. The grocery bag wrinkled softly against your wrist as you unlocked the apartment door. The quiet click of the latch gave way to an unexpected sight. The warm golden lights of the hallway were already on. Your brows knit in confusion. You were sure you had turned everything off before leaving. Yobo, there was no reply at first, just the faint clatter of utensils coming from the kitchen. You stepped in, slipping off your shoes, and followed the aroma of something warm and familiar. Your heart softened instantly at the sight in front of you. There he stood, Jungkook, in his casual grey shirt, sleeves rolled up, his dark hair slightly tousled, focused on stirring something in the pot. His side profile looked so different from the cold professor everyone at college knew. Here, under this roof, he wasn't Professor Jones, he was yours. Without looking up, his voice came calm and steady. Why did you come late? You walked over, placing the grocery bag gently on the counter beside him. I stopped by the store. We were running out of eggs, and you drank the last milk carton this morning. He nodded quietly, switching off the burner before turning to you. His gaze scanned your face briefly, not harsh but unreadable as always. Yubo? Hmm. You leaned on the counter, folding your arms and trying not to laugh. I was almost caught, his brows lifted just slightly. By who? Asun, that got his attention. He turned fully toward you now, drying his hands with a towel. She saw us yesterday in your car. She was grilling me today like an FBI agent. I had to make up some nonsense about a flat tire and you just happening to be going the same way. Jungkook's lips curled into a rare amusement, the kind that made your heart stutter just a little. And she believed it. Barely, she was dramatic as always, nearly passed out from shock. We will have to be more careful. I don't want anyone connecting the dots. There was no edge in his voice, that just quiet firmness he always carried. You noted your tone softening. I know, I just hate pretending like we are strangers when we walk past each other at campus. I can't even say hi to my own husband. Jungkook moved a little closer now, resting his hand on the counter just beside yours, not touching but close enough for you to feel the warmth. I hate it too, but until you graduate, we don't have a choice. There it was again, that unshakable restraint in him. Even in love, Jungkook stayed composed, careful always, thinking 10 steps ahead, but beneath it, you knew he cared more than he let on. You exhaled slowly and offered a small smile. Let's eat before your masterpiece gets cold. The two of you sat at the small dining table, your safe haven, away from judgmental eyes and the suffocating college rules. You always called him Yobo at home. Not even Asun, your closest friend, could ever imagine that behind the classroom lectures and cold glares, Professor Jones went home to the very student he refused to acknowledge in public. He wasn't rude, just distant, professional because he had to be. You were his wife and he was your husband, but the college's code of ethics strictly forbade any relationship between a professor and a student, let alone a legal marriage. The risks were too high. If anyone found out, you could lose everything he had worked for and you could be expelled instantly. So you both pretended. You sat across from him like any ordinary couple sharing lunch, but outside this apartment, he had barely glanced at you. And still, despite the secrecy, the fear, the silence, you loved him with all that you had. The next morning, the lecture hall buzzed with idle chatter as students settled into their seats. You sat in your usual spot, second row from the front, close enough to concentrate, far enough not to draw suspicion. Professor Jones entered a few minutes later, dressed in his usual all black, pressed shirt, watch on his wrist. Just sharp as ever, his steps were calm, precise, and readable, just like his expression. No one would ever guess that the same man who barely glanced in your direction during class had cooked you dinner last night and kissed your forehead before bed. He placed his laptop on the podium and scanned the class with a neutral gaze. If anyone has any confusion regarding the assignment, now's the time to ask. A moment of silence passed as a few students flipped through their notes, and then, before you could stop yourself, in a moment of sheer instinct, you raised your hand and called out, Yobo. The entire classroom froze, the sound of pens dropping pages, stopping mid turn, and gasps filling the air made your stomach lurch. Jungkook coughed, almost choking on thin air. His eyes met yours for the briefest second, a storm of disbelief and horror flashing through them. But he quickly composed himself. You turned crimson, stammering as you tried to backtrack. I mean, Professor Jones, sorry, I didn't mean to. In the corner of your eye, you saw Asun whip her head toward you, her brows climbing high. One cheek blinked, eyes wide in pure confusion. It's alright, just be careful next time. The lecture continued, but the room buzzed with murmurs. Some students tried to suppress their laughter, others exchanged curious looks. You sat in your seat like a statue, head lowered in shame, heart thudding wildly against your ribs. After class, you escaped quickly, but there was no escaping Asun. The cafeteria was noisy as usual, but the moment you sat down with your tray, you could feel it, two pairs of eyes boring into your soul. Asun and Kwanchik sat across from you, their food untouched, expressions frozen somewhere between shock and betrayal. Mind telling us what the hell that was back there? You try to laugh it off, but your awkward smile only made it worse. Okay, just listen. Let me explain before you freak out. They leaned in. You took a deep breath. We are married, me and Professor June. We have been married for a few months now. You said it just like that, the truth laid bare between three cafeteria trays and two stunned faces. Asun immediately shot back in pure drama. What? You got married? To him? And you didn't tell me? Me? I'm your best friend. I have the right to know if you are living a secret gay drama. I'm sorry, Asun. I wanted to tell you so many times, but you didn't want anyone to find out. The university has a strict policy, you know that a professor and student being in a relationship is already enough to cause trouble. Imagine what they would do if they found out we were married. Wait, legally married, registered and everything. Asun gasped, placing a hand dramatically over her heart. You little sneaky queen, I can't believe I didn't notice anything. The way you blushed when he walked past, I thought you were just another girl with a stupid crush. You laughed relief pouring through your chest like a wave. I really am sorry. I hated hiding it from you. Asun leaned back with a dramatic sigh, then pointed at Kwanchik. Learned something from her. Look at her, secretly married, still bringing groceries, and meanwhile, you can't even remember our anniversary. Kwanchik blinked flustered. What anniversary? We got together after the group project. Exactly, our project anniversary. You burst into laughter, finally relaxing as the tension melted away. Your secret was no longer so heavy, and even though the world still couldn't know, it felt good to share the truth with the two people who mattered. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you wondered how Jungkook would react when he found out we told them.